Hello, my friends. I am so pumped for this episode. After yo yo dieting and doing probably everything you can imagine, like literally everything you've tried, any bizarre, no freaking way, a quick fix, fad diet, extreme workout you can throw at me, this is the change that made the biggest difference in my journey. It's how I finally managed to quit binging, treat mealing my face off, ending up face down in a pint of Ben and Jerry's at least once per week. I was really out of control around food, and thoroughly understanding today's topic changed all of that for me. So let's dive straight in. We've been talking for a few episodes now about the primal brain, what motivates it, and why that knowledge is key to making real progress towards our goals. When we understand the hurdles our brain is throwing up on the road and get why our brain is so confused about what we truly desire, we can start to make serious progress in half the time. If I had understood even half the role my brain played during my over 2 decades of yo yo dieting, I would have had the sustainable results I was looking for in like record time. I could have those 20 odd years back to focus on something besides my weight. It's kind of mind blowing. Okay, so to recap, when I talk about the primal brain, I'm referring to the area of the brain that is in charge of our day to day survival, doing all kinds of important stuff on autopilot, really zeroed in on keeping us safe. It evolved during a time when it was incredibly helpful to focus entirely on avoiding pain, seeking pleasure, and staying efficient. These motivators all sound decent, but they have gotten all confused in the modern world. A little run of the mill embarrassment from having your idea shot down at the weekly staff meeting doesn't need to be avoided at all costs. Or even trying something new doesn't have to trigger an automatic and overwhelming fear of the unknown. The primal brain is pretty sure at any given moment death is imminent, like all the time. I mean, it's exhausting. But nowhere do I find our primal brains more heavily exploited than when it comes to its natural inclination to seek pleasure. Instant gratification at its finest. The faster, the better. Here's how this played out when it meant survive or die. As winter approached, we needed a reason to leave the cave. Food would be scarce soon enough, and whether we were planning on hunkering down and toughing it out or making the trek to a more hospitable climate, we would need some food packed in storage. And by storage, I mean packed literally on our behind. A little bit of cushion around that midsection, basically a fuel source when none was available for immediate intake. We needed some fat stored on our bodies. And wouldn't you know it, but that strawberry just happened to ripen at the exact right time. A little bit of sugar, all wrapped up with nature's fibery bow for safe digesting, and fat storage mode was switched on. It's a hormone thing, and our bodies are insanely cool, I'm telling you. That little taste of sugar released just enough dopamine, which is like a pleasure trigger in our brains, to our brain to get us coming back for more, leaving the cave again and again, remembering where that strawberry patch was. That little bit of sugar turned on fat storage using insulin, and we needed the extra fuel on board to survive. Now that you get the basic purpose seeking pleasure serves, let's talk about today. For most of us, food doesn't become scarce. We don't have to wait for fruit to be in season to enjoy it. If you even bother with the natural stuff at all, because there's a fine white powder that can activate that pleasure center, and nothing else is going to compare. So I know what you might be thinking, and yes, that does the same thing, but I'm talking about sugar in the form we now consume it. We've concentrated that dose of dopamine so our brain's pleasure center lights up like a Christmas tree with every bite. Anything can be made better with sugar. You're talking about candy at the movies, grand displays of affection on Valentine's Day, complete with the heart-shaped box of chocolates, or heading home to visit family for the holidays. It all equals sugar. And Big Food is well aware of what that means for their bottom line. That dopamine rush is addictive, as evidenced quite clearly by that other fine white powder, and it's highly profitable to add it to everything that can stand the touch of sweet. Anytime you pick something up from the grocery shelf, a quick scan of the nutrition label will leave you shocked at where they've managed to stuff it. And once word got out that it might have a little something to do with this whole obesity thing, whoops, by the way, sorry for blaming the fat in our diet all those years, they started calling it by other names. Sugar can circumvent our hunger and full signals. Our brains will stop communicating with our bodies until there's nowhere left for the food to fit. Now, I can embarrassingly enough personally attest to this. There was a time when I literally ate so many candied pecans in one sitting, I puked. Not once did I question the food. I just assumed something was irreparably wrong with me. If you can get sugar in the food, you can all but guarantee customers will be heading back for more. Food will fly off the shelves, you guys. It's just good business. The effect sugar has had on our waistlines is obvious, but there's more at work here. That constantly, readily available pleasure is in direct conflict with what would make us happy long term. Living in a body we are comfortable in is happiness. Sugar is pleasure. Fulfilling one goal and moving on to the next is a recipe for fulfillment, but sugar is faster. Walking hand in hand with your loved ones, playing with your kids in the yard, that's joy. But that natural, fulfilling happiness can't hope to compare to the dopamine rush we receive from a concentrated dose of sugar. Our brains weren't meant to process the rush. It's nearly impossible to put long-term happiness over short-term pleasure. We're missing out on our lives in pursuit of the hit. I think we all know where this is going, and I know it's a big ask, but it is the first step in taking back your life, attaining your goals, and developing an amazing relationship with your body. You deserve to love the crap out of your body and treat it how it deserves to be treated. It matters, and you matter. But what I don't want to do is pretend it's going to be all sunshine and daisies. Sugar addiction is real, and there is a detox period. It won't feel the best. You may go through withdrawal just like any other drug. You could be cranky, have headaches, trouble sleeping, or be worn out. And that totally sounds awesome, right? Like, I'm not denying it's a tough sell, but here's the silver lining. It gets easier, not harder. Once you've gotten through the first few days, things will begin to level out. In a few short weeks, the cravings will subside. It took me more years than I'd like to admit to finally say goodbye for good, but I haven't looked back. It's so clear on the other side what sugar triggers. It feels ludicrous to imagine going back to me now. Those same physical cravings that left me counting down the days to my next cheat meal are now no more than a passing observation. I bet that probably tastes good. Like, it's not even particularly interesting to me anymore, and it blows my mind. This is all from the girl, that would be me, who has a degree in baking and pastry arts, because I thought that my love of sugar was true passion and not just a craving for another hit. I'm not exaggerating when I say dropping sugar changed my life. And yes, there was weight loss, but it freed my brain up to pursue other things. I left behind my obsession with food. That has been the true gift. Like I said, though, it doesn't come easy, even if it does get easier every day. That first week can be tough, which is why I want to help you get through it. On the 1st, I will be launching a 1-week sugar detox challenge. I'll take you through the first few days, deepen your understanding of how sugar affects your body, and keep you on track with daily commitments. I'll keep you accountable when you feel like giving up, your friend tries to convince you to split dessert, or the break room explodes with celebratory sweets on Friday. I got you. You can join today at sugarfreeweekchallenge.com and we can do it together. You guys, this is a free challenge starting on the 1st. You can join at sugarfreeweekchallenge.com and we can do it together.